Rust Station floated quietly at the edge of human space, far from busy trade routes, far from war zones, and far from any major planet. It was a lonely place made of old metal walls, flickering lights, and long, empty hallways. Only one person lived there full-time, Jared, a human mechanic who liked peace more than crowds. Every day, Jared repaired old ships. Some were small cargo shuttles, some were mining crafts, and sometimes even hunters brought damaged engines for repair. Jared never asked many questions. He liked machines more than loud talking. Machines were simple. Machines made sense. On this evening, the station was silent except for the low hum of generators. Jared sat at his workbench, tightening bolts on a broken thruster. A mug of warm tea sat beside him, growing cold. He rubbed his eyes and stretched. It had been a long day. Then, boom! The entire station shook like something massive had slammed into its outer hull. Tools jumped off the table. The lights flickered. Jared froze for a moment, heart pounding. What was that? He whispered to himself. Rust Station barely received visitors, and nothing should be hitting it with that much force. His first fear was that a meteor struck the hull. If it made a hole, the station could lose air fast. But the sound, it wasn't sharp or light. It felt heavy, like a living thing had landed. Jared ran toward the airlock corridor. His boots echoed in the empty hallway. He grabbed a helmet from the emergency rack just in case and slapped the visor down. The airlock scanner beeped and showed large heat signatures outside. Not one, two. His breath caught. Did someone crash into the outer bay? Shaking slightly, he opened the outer cameras. The screen lit up with static for a moment. Then it cleared. Jared's eyes widened. Outside the station, lying across the metal platform, was a giant alien dragon. Her scales glowed with a soft blue light. Her wings were cracked and weak. Deep wounds lined the sides of her body, and in her huge claws she carried something much smaller, a young dragon, barely moving. Jared blinked, thinking his eyes were tricking him. Dragons were spoken of in old tales across the galaxy, rare and mysterious. He had never seen one in real life. The mother dragon slowly lifted her head. Her eyes, large and bright like shining stars, stared directly at the camera, as if asking for help. Jared could feel something inside him tighten. He wasn't brave like soldiers or explorers, but something about her eyes made him understand she wasn't here to attack. She was here because she had no other choice. He swallowed hard. Okay. I'll help. He moved to the airlock controls and opened the doors slowly, making sure the pressure stayed stable. The mother dragon dragged herself inside. Her movements were slow and heavy. The young dragon in her claws gave a weak breath, then lay still. When the airlock sealed, Jared rushed to her side. The closer he got, the larger she looked. Her body was longer than any shuttle he repaired. Her wings folded around her child like a shield. He hesitated. He had never been this close to such a creature. But then the mother lifted her head and lowered it toward him. Her neck trembled. Her breathing was shallow. She gently pushed her young toward him, almost as if placing the small dragon in his hands. Jared felt his chest tighten with emotion. You want me to help your child? The mother closed her eyes once, slowly. It looked like a nod. Jared knelt and touched the young dragon. Its body was warm but weak. Its scales were not as hard as the mother's. They were soft and shone with a pale silver glow. But the dragon's breathing was faint, almost fading. I'll do what I can, Jared whispered. The mother let out a soft rumble, almost like a grateful sigh. But she was getting weaker by the second. Stay with me, Jared said gently. I'll help both of you. He carefully placed the young dragon in a padded carrier normally used for fragile cargo. The mother watched him with tired but hopeful eyes. Jared then guided her slowly into the station's repair bay, where there was space for her to lie down. But halfway through, the mother dragon stumbled. Her legs gave out, and she collapsed heavily to the floor. Jared rushed to her side. "Easy, easy, you're safe now." The mother dragon's chest rose and fell slowly, each breath a struggle. She lifted her head one last time, looking toward the carrier where her child lay. Her eyes said everything. "Help my child live." Then she lowered her head and closed her eyes, too weak to move. Jared had no idea how to treat a dragon. He had never even treated a cat. But he was the only one here, and 2 lives were depending on him. He carried the young dragon into his workshop and placed it gently on his repair table. The small creature's scales flickered with weak light. Its body curled slightly, shivering. Jared scanned it with his handheld analyzer. Numbers and alien readings filled the screen. What are you?" he muttered. The inside of the dragon was a mix of biology and something else. Something mechanical. Metal-like structures ran through its chest, connected to a glowing crystal organ. The crystal was cracked. "That must be its heart," Jared whispered, "or something like a heart." He felt panic rising. This was not a simple repair, but if there was one thing Jared knew better than anything, it was machines. And this creature was half machine. Maybe he could do something. He returned to the mother dragon outside. She lay quietly, watching with tired eyes. He placed his hand gently on her nose. "I'll help your child. I promise." The mother's eyes softened. Then Jared ran back inside and gathered tools, micro-welders, stabilizers, energy clamps, and every soft medical device he had. He didn't know if any of it would work, but he had to try. Hours passed. Jared worked carefully, gently cleaning the cracked crystal. He used the smallest tools, afraid he might damage something important. Sweat ran down his face. His hands shook, but he didn't stop. The young dragon's breathing was slow, almost too slow. "Stay with me," Jared whispered again and again. He checked the mother dragon through the tiny window. She watched him, barely able to lift her head. Her eyes were full of hope and fear. Jared's heart tightened. He felt responsible. He felt the weight of 2 lives. He leaned closer to the young dragon. "You're going to make it. I won't let you go." Just as he said that, the lights in the room dimmed. The young dragon's breathing stopped for a moment, a long, silent moment. "No," Jared whispered, panic rushing through him. "Not yet." He grabbed the scanner again. The crystal in its chest was fading. Jared leaned back, breathing hard. He felt helpless. He wasn't a doctor. He wasn't a hero. He was just a mechanic on an old station. But then he remembered something, a human repair trick for failing ship cores. A microspark restart. If the young dragon's heart was part machine, maybe it would respond. Jared quickly set up a tiny power coil and attached it to the crystal. He adjusted the energy levels, making sure the spark would be gentle, not harmful. He looked at the young dragon one more time. "Come on, little one. Don't give up." He pressed the activator. A small spark of energy flashed through the crystal. For 2 long seconds, nothing happened. Then, a faint pulse of light. Then a stronger pulse. Then the young dragon breathed again. Jared let out a sigh of relief and wiped his eyes. He didn't even realize he had tears. "It worked," he whispered. "It actually worked." From the doorway, the mother dragon lifted her head a little. Her eyes glowed softly, full of deep gratitude. Jared walked over to her. "He's alive," he said softly. "Your child is alive." The mother dragon let out a gentle, tired sound, a sound that felt like thanks. For the first time since the night began, Jared let himself breathe. But deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. Something strange and powerful had started. And it would change both human and dragon futures forever. The repair bay of Rust's station had never seen anything like this before. Tools were scattered everywhere, scanners blinked with strange readings, and at the center of the room lay the young alien dragon Jared had just saved with a delicate spark. The small dragon rested on a padded platform Jared normally used for engines. Its tiny chest rose and fell slowly, each breath glowing faintly through its crystal-like heart. The glow was weak but steady. It was alive, for now. Jared stood beside the platform, breathing hard, his hands still shaking. He had fixed countless machines in his life, but this was different. This was a life, a fragile young life, and the responsibility pressed heavily on him. He wiped sweat from his forehead and leaned closer to the young dragon. "You're not out of danger yet," he whispered gently, "but we'll get through this." The young creature gave a soft chirp, barely audible, as if it understood. Jared checked the cracked crystal again. His micro-spark had restarted its inner energy flow, but the crack was still there. It needed proper repair, not just a restart. If the crystal failed again, the young dragon might not survive a second time. Jared swallowed. "I have to fix that core," he told himself. For real. He grabbed his scanner tablet and began reviewing the structure of the dragon's chest. The inside showed something unbelievable. Human machines had metal wires, circuits, and power cells. The dragon had something similar, but it was natural, grown inside the body, not built. Biological metal, living energy pathways, and that glowing life core shaped like a crystal. "It's like nature made a machine," Jared whispered. He looked back toward the mother dragon lying near the airlock doorway. She was too weak to stand and had curled her large wings around her injured body. She watched Jared with tired but trusting eyes. The trust made him feel even more responsible. "Don't worry," he said softly, stepping closer to her. "Your child is stable. I just need time to repair the crystal fully." The mother dragon blinked slowly, her breathing shallow but calm. She understood. Preparing for a real repair. Jared hurried around the room, collecting every tool that might help. Soft-touch micro-welders, crystal stabilizers, nano-magnifiers, and a flexible arm light. He set everything neatly around the small dragon. He spoke calmly while working, partly to steady his nerves. "I can't weld the crack closed like a metal piece, and I can't use heat. It's alive, not a power crystal. I need a gentle way to seal the fracture." He checked the crystal again, using the nano-magnifier. Tiny veins of energy ran through it, glowing like small rivers of light. "If I can just realign them, maybe the crack will close." It wasn't easy. The young dragon twitched weakly, sensing the tools. Jared placed a soft hand on its side. "No pain, no harm. I need to help you." The dragon slowly relaxed. Jared took a deep breath and leaned in with his precision tools. For the next hour, he adjusted small energy veins, fixed loose connections, and positioned stabilizers around the core. The work required focus finer than repairing a starship engine. One wrong move and the crystal could break more. His hands shook once. He stopped, took a slow breath, and tried again. All the while, he felt the mother dragon's eyes watching him from across the room. She didn't move, didn't make a sound, but her presence was heavy and full of silent hope. An unexpected reaction. After hours of careful work, Jared placed the final stabilizer. He stepped back and exhaled. "Okay, that should help it heal." He didn't know if dragons healed like humans. He didn't even know if the crystal could heal at all. But according to the readings, the energy flow was now stable. The young dragon gave a soft hum, a gentle vibration in its chest. The glow inside brightened for a moment. Jared smiled. That's a good sign. But then something strange happened. The glow from the crystal pulsed again, and this time it spread, sending a faint wave of light across the platform and into the air. It was gentle, warm, and filled the room like a soft breeze. Jared felt a light tug inside his mind, like a tiny thread connecting him to the young dragon. He froze. What was that? The dragon lifted its head slightly and looked directly at him. Its eyes, small and silver, reflected Jared's face. For a moment he felt like he could sense its emotions: fear, confusion, and also something warm: trust. He stepped back, startled. Did we just connect? The mother dragon lifted her head weakly from across the room. She let out a quiet sound, almost like a soft rumble. Her eyes glowed brighter, as if she understood exactly what happened. Jared felt the connection again for a brief second. It wasn't loud or strong. It wasn't painful. It was soft, like a small voice whispering feelings instead of words. He shook his head slowly. I don't know what that was. But don't worry. I won't hurt you. The young dragon relaxed and lowered its head again. The mother weakens. Jared walked back to the mother dragon. Up close, he saw just how badly injured she was. Her scales were cracked. One wing was bent. Deep scratches ran along her legs. She must have escaped something terrible. He carefully touched the side of her face. I need to help you too, but you're too large for my equipment. The mother dragon closed her eyes. Her breaths were slow and heavy. Jared scanned her injuries with a hand device. The readings were grim: massive internal damage, energy loss, exhaustion beyond anything a healer could fix easily. No wonder you came here, Jared whispered. You used everything you had to bring your child. The mother's tail twitched weakly. You're safe now, Jared said. Both of you. But deep inside, he feared she might not last much longer. Searching for understanding. Jared returned to his workstation and studied the readings again. He wanted to understand more about these dragons. He had seen old reports, legends, and stories, but nothing scientific. He activated his old database and searched for any information on dragon-like alien species. Most files were mythological. Only one scientific record appeared: an ancient report from an explorer claiming these dragons were energy-bound life forms. That makes sense, Jared murmured. The crystal must be the center of their energy. But why was their biology mixed with mechanical structures? And how did they produce natural machine parts? Before he could search more, the young dragon gave a weak cry. Jared rushed to its side. What's wrong? The dragon shifted slightly. Its crystal glowed irregularly for a moment. Jared quickly checked the stabilizers. No, stay steady, he whispered. He placed his hand gently over the crystal area, and for a brief moment the glow evened out. The dragon relaxed. What? Jared blinked. He lifted his hand. The glow flickered again. He placed his hand back, and the glow stabilized once more. Jared stared. You react to human touch? He swallowed. Or to my energy? He remembered that strange connection from earlier. Maybe the restart spark had created a temporary bond. This was new, unknown, and maybe even dangerous. But Jared didn't feel fear. He felt something else: responsibility. Okay, he whispered. If my touch helps you heal, then I'll stay right here. The young dragon curled slightly toward his hand. The mother dragon, watching from across the room, gave one soft, weak sound, almost approval. Night on Rust Station. Hours passed. The station lights dimmed to their nighttime mode. Jared stayed at the young dragon's side, adjusting tools, checking readings, and keeping his hand near the core to stabilize it. He didn't sleep. He didn't want to. Outside, the quiet of space pressed against the metal walls. Inside, the young dragon breathed softly, glowing in the dim light. Jared felt tired but calm. I never thought my life would be like this, he said quietly. Just fixing ships. Now, helping dragons. He looked at the mother. She was watching him still. but her eyes were slow, heavy, full of fading strength. "Rest," Jared whispered. "I'll protect your child." The mother lowered her head gently. Her breathing was soft, almost peaceful. A mechanic's promise. Jared sat between the two dragons, feeling the deep silence of the station. He thought about the future. He had no idea what these dragons were truly capable of or what dangers they had escaped. But he knew one thing. They trusted him. A simple human mechanic, not a fighter, not a leader, just someone who cared. He placed his hand on the young dragon again. "You're safe," he said softly. "Both of you. I won't let anything happen." And as he spoke, the crystal inside the young dragon pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat echoing his promise. The night on Rust's station grew longer. Jared had barely slept. Sitting at the young dragon's side, watching the faint glow of its crystal heart pulse steadily. The air was quiet, except for the low hum of the station's generators. Outside, the endless stars shone like tiny diamonds, silent witnesses to the strange event unfolding inside. For hours, Jared studied the dragon's life core, trying to understand how it worked. The more he examined it, the more he realized it was unlike any technology he had ever seen. It was alive, energy-based, and somehow responsive to his presence. The soft bond he had felt earlier was not an accident. It was real. He carefully placed his hand again on the dragon's chest. The crystal pulsed. A faint warmth spread into his palm, a subtle vibration that matched the rhythm of his heartbeat. Jared realized he could almost sense the young dragon's emotions through the crystal. Fear, confusion, hope, they were all there. And somehow it reacted to his calmness, as if it trusted him. "I don't know what this is," Jared murmured, "but I think I can help it." He adjusted the stabilizers around the crystal once more. The crack was still visible, but smaller than before. The small energy pulses he applied were gentle, almost like the way he would tune a delicate instrument. Each pulse caused the crystal to shimmer faintly. Each shimmer made the dragon stir slightly, opening its silver eyes just a little wider. The mother dragon, lying nearby, raised her head. Her glowing eyes followed Jared's every movement. She was too weak to move, but her presence was powerful. He could feel her silent trust and quiet hope. Every time he looked at her, he remembered why he could not fail. "I won't fail," he whispered. "I can't." A moment of doubt. Despite his determination, doubt crept in. Jared had never treated any living creature this way before, let alone a dragon with a life core that seemed part machine and part organic. What if he made a mistake? What if the core failed again? He could not even call for help. Rust Station was too remote, and no human doctor had ever seen this kind of creature. His hands shook slightly as he checked the stabilizers one more time. The young dragon's chest glowed softly, rhythmic, but fragile. Every pulse seemed to echo through the room. Jared leaned back and took a deep breath. He thought of his past, years of repairing machines, fixing broken engines, keeping small crafts alive in the cold emptiness of space. Every problem had a solution. Every broken system could be repaired, if he understood it. And this was no different. Maybe. He clenched his fists. "I've repaired the impossible before. I can do this." The dragon stirred at his words. Its small silver eyes flickered, almost as if it understood. Jared's chest tightened with hope. He was not just a mechanic here. He was a guardian. And in this quiet moment, he made a silent promise. He would save this life no matter what. The spark idea. Jared returned to his workstation and reviewed every tool he had. The crystal core needed something more than stabilizers. It needed energy, a spark, but not just any spark, something gentle, controlled, like a heartbeat of electricity. He recalled the micro-spark restart he had tried hours earlier. It had saved the dragon once, but only partially. If he could combine the spark with the stabilizers, maybe he could repair the crack fully. It was risky. One miscalculation and the crystal could shatter completely. The young dragon would not survive. He looked at the small creature, lying still but breathing faintly. Its crystal heart flickered with light like a tiny star. Jared's fingers trembled slightly as he adjusted the energy coil. He connected it carefully to the stabilizers and set the power to the lowest level needed to nudge the crystal back into alignment. He exhaled slowly. "Here goes nothing," he whispered. A tiny spark jumped from the coil into the crystal. The dragon shivered slightly, but did not cry out. Its heart glow brightened faintly. The mother dragon's eyes widened a little as she felt the energy. She tilted her head slightly, curious but still trusting Jared. Seconds passed. Nothing changed. Jared's heart pounded. He increased the spark slightly, sending just enough energy to reach the core without harming it. The young dragon's crystal pulsed brightly. A soft warmth spread through the room. Jared felt it in his own chest, faint but real, like a thread connecting him to the creature. Then, as if answering his determination, the crystal pulsed again, stronger this time. A soft hum filled the repair bay. The dragon stirred, lifting its small head slightly. Its silver eyes met Jared's, and he felt a surge of connection, something deep, something almost like emotion, crossing species. "It's working," Jared whispered. "Hold on. You're almost there." The bond forms. As he continued, something amazing happened. The crystal's glow responded directly to his calmness and focus. Every time he touched it gently, it pulsed steadily. Every time he spoke softly, it hummed brighter. The young dragon was connecting to him, reacting not just to the energy, but to his feelings. Jared froze for a moment. I can feel it," he murmured. "I can feel what it's feeling." The dragon gave a soft, vibrating chirp. Its eyes flickered silver and then faintly blue. Jared's heart raced. It was as if it was trying to communicate with him. Not in words, but in trust, fear, and hope. He realized the bond was more than just energy. The spark, the stabilizers, and his care had created a link. A human mechanic, alone in a tiny station, had connected to an alien dragon in a way no one had before. The mother dragon lifted her head weakly and looked at them both. Her eyes glimmered with something warm, pride, relief, and gratitude. Jared felt it too. She trusted him, and now the young dragon trusted him as well. A moment of life. Hours passed, and Jared carefully maintained the spark, adjusting energy pulses to flow gently through the crystal. The crack slowly started to close. Tiny threads of energy reconnected. The glow became steady and strong, like a small star burning inside the young dragon. Then, for the first time in what felt like an eternity, the dragon stretched its wings slightly. Its small head lifted completely, and it looked around the room. Its body glimmered with soft light. The energy pulses synchronized perfectly with its breathing. It was alive, fully alive, and thriving. Jared's heart swelled with relief. He laughed softly, tears in his eyes. "You did it. You made it. You're going to be okay." The mother dragon made a soft, rumbling sound, almost like laughter. She lifted her head higher and nudged her child gently with her snout. The small dragon responded, nuzzling her weak but still strong enough to support a tiny gesture of affection. Jared watched quietly, amazed. He had not only repaired a life core, but had somehow helped forge a new bond, one that crossed species and made him part of their story forever. A new understanding. The young dragon began to move more confidently. It tested its wings, stretching them gently. The glow of the crystal in its chest pulsed in harmony with its motions. Jared noticed that when he placed his hand near it, the crystal responded almost immediately. It responds to me, Jared whispered, like I'm part of it. He realized something extraordinary. The spark had done more than restart the dragon. It had created a connection between human and dragon, something unique, something that could change the future. The mother dragon shifted slightly, weak but alert. She touched the small dragon lightly with her wing. The young one chirped in response. Jared could feel the energy ripple through the room, a soft, warm wave that made him shiver. This was more than life-saving. It was a miracle. The human had repaired the impossible, created a bond across worlds, and witnessed the beginning of something extraordinary. The first step forward. By early morning, the young dragon was awake, exploring the edges of the platform, testing its wings, and responding to Jared's gentle guidance. He provided soft words, small gestures of reassurance, and careful touches to the crystal. The dragon followed his movements, learning quickly. Jared realized something. This was just the first step. Healing the crystal had saved the dragon's life, but now came the challenge of growth, learning, and understanding. He had to teach it, guide it, and protect it. The mother dragon watched quietly. Her glow dimmed slightly, showing she was still very weak, but her eyes radiated something deep, trust. And in that trust, Jared felt a strange strength. She had given him a responsibility far greater than anything he had ever known. A quiet promise. Jared knelt beside the small dragon, placing his hand on the glowing crystal once more. Its light responded, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. "I promise," he said softly. "I'll help you grow. I'll teach you. I'll protect you. No matter what comes." The dragon's wings flickered slightly as if acknowledging the promise. The mother dragon gave a soft, contented rumble, almost like approval. Outside the repair bay, the stars of deep space shone quietly. Inside, something new had begun. The bond between human and dragon, born of care, skill, and determination. It was a spark that could grow into something amazing. And Jared knew this was only the beginning. The quiet of Rust Station was broken only by soft, mechanical hums and the steady pulse of the young dragon's crystal heart. Jared had spent nearly a full day monitoring the creature, ensuring it remained stable and that the fragile energy bond they shared stayed strong. Every few minutes, he checked the stabilizers and gently touched the glowing core to calm its energy. The dragon had begun to respond to his presence naturally, lifting its head when he spoke, twitching its wings when he moved around the workshop, and even emitting soft, curious chirps when he smiled at it. Despite the progress, the room carried an underlying tension. The mother dragon, lying near the airlock doorway, grew weaker with each passing hour. Her scales, once vibrant, had dulled slightly. Her wings, cracked and bent, rested limply against her sides. Her breathing was slower and shallower. Jared watched her closely, feeling the weight of his responsibility like never before. He knelt beside her carefully, placing his hand on the smooth curve of her jaw. Her eyes, large and luminous, turned to him. Though she could not speak human words, her presence radiated urgency and trust. She lifted her head slowly, letting out a soft, vibrating sound that filled the room. Jared leaned closer, catching the faint pulse of her energy through the air. "You've done all you could," he whispered softly. "Your child is safe. You don't need to worry." The mother dragon gave another faint sound, this one stronger. Her eyes flickered as if urging him to listen more closely. Jared realized she wanted to communicate, perhaps one last time. He focused, allowing himself to quiet his thoughts. A subtle pulse emanated from her chest, not mechanical, but something deeper. He felt it in his mind, a gentle connection forming across species, across worlds. The words were not spoken aloud, but they were clear in meaning. "Protect my child. Teach it. The courage of humans. Jared felt the weight of her request settle heavily in his chest. Her energy trembled faintly, as if she were expending the last of her strength just to convey this one message. The young dragon stirred beside him, sensing the gravity of the moment. Its crystal glowed brighter in response to the mother's pulsing energy, almost as if it understood the importance of her words. "I promise," Jared whispered. "I'll protect it. I'll teach it. I won't fail." The mother dragon's eyes softened. She lowered her head slowly, her wings stretching slightly toward her young, as if to nuzzle it one final time. Jared watched as she moved with deliberate gentleness, even in weakness. The young dragon chirped softly, sensing the connection. For a long while, neither of them spoke. The only sounds were the soft hums of the station and the faint pulsing of energy from the dragon's crystals. Then, with a final gentle pulse, the mother dragon's eyes dimmed, her breathing slowed. Jared held his hand near her, feeling her life force fading. The young dragon twitched softly, curling toward its mother instinctively. It chirped again, small and uncertain. Jared quickly placed his hand over both dragons, sharing warmth and calm energy. The mother dragon let out one last low rumble, soft and filled with trust, and then she was still. Jared exhaled slowly, letting his hand rest gently on the young dragon. He felt a mixture of sorrow and determination. The mother had entrusted her only child to him. It was now his responsibility to keep the promise he had made. Adjusting to a new responsibility. For hours afterward, Jared remained beside the young dragon. He checked its energy readings constantly, making small adjustments to the stabilizers and occasionally placing his hand near its crystal to calm it. The dragon seemed aware of the loss, but it did not panic. Its connection with Jared was strong now, and the gentle pulses of energy from him helped steady its emotions. Jared looked around the station, suddenly realizing that his simple life as a mechanic had changed forever. No longer was he merely fixing broken engines or old shuttles. He was now responsible for a young alien life that held incredible potential, a life whose species had never been closely studied by humans. The enormity of the task could have been overwhelming, but Jared felt a quiet determination settle over him. "I'll do this," he murmured to himself. "I'll teach it everything I can. I'll keep it safe." The young dragon lifted its head slightly, its crystal pulsing gently. It watched Jared with large, intelligent eyes, and he felt the tiny creature's curiosity. It seemed to sense the magnitude of the promise he had made. Over the next few hours, Jared began to guide the dragon through small exercises. He encouraged it to lift its wings, to nudge small tools, and to respond to his touch. The creature learned quickly, reacting to his calm energy, and even experimenting with tiny movements of its tail. Jared realized that the bond he shared with it was growing stronger with every moment. Learning through touch, Jared discovered something remarkable. The young dragon's crystal responded not just to energy pulses but to emotional cues as well. When he remained calm, the dragon's crystal pulsed steadily. When he was anxious or doubtful, the crystal shimmered unevenly. "This isn't just a machine," Jared said quietly. "It's alive in a way I've never seen before." He spent the next several hours showing the young dragon how to respond to calm signals. A gentle touch here, a soft word there, a small movement of his hand. It was all communication. Slowly, the creature began to mirror his actions, learning not just physically but emotionally. At one point, the dragon attempted a small leap, flapping its tiny wings with effort. Jared held his hand beneath it, ready to support it if it fell. The small creature landed clumsily but without harm. Its crystal pulsed rapidly, then steadied. The mother's last words, echoing in Jared's mind, reminded him that teaching courage was part of his responsibility. "You can do it," he whispered, gently stroking its side. "You're stronger than you think. We'll face everything together." The young dragon chirped in response, almost like laughter. Jared smiled. He had never imagined that he could share such a connection with another life form. A quiet night. As night fell again over Rust Station, the young dragon curled beside him. Its crystal glowed softly, lighting the small workshop with a pale, soothing light. Jared leaned back in his chair, exhausted but awake with awareness. He looked toward the doorway where the mother dragon had rested. Her energy was gone, but her presence lingered in the quiet confidence of her child. He realized something important. He was not just a mechanic anymore. He was a teacher, a guardian, and a protector. The young dragon had survived the impossible, not only because of skill, but because of the human heart. "Rest for now," he said softly. "Tomorrow, we begin learning more. You'll need strength, courage, and patience." The dragon's eyes slowly closed, the crystal pulsing in soft rhythm. Jared stayed awake for a long while, watching over it, making sure every pulse remained steady. Outside the station, stars glimmered endlessly. Inside, a new bond had been forged, one that promised growth, courage, and discovery. First lessons. Begin. The following morning, Jared began teaching the young dragon simple lessons. He guided it to lift small tools with its claws, to push tiny objects across the platform, and to respond to gentle signals. Every movement, no matter how small, was a victory. He discovered that the dragon was remarkably intelligent. It observed his actions carefully, then tried to replicate them. It learned from trial and error, responding faster with each attempt. The crystal in its chest pulsed rhythmically, reflecting its growing confidence. Jared noticed that the bond they shared strengthened with each lesson. His calm energy directly influenced the dragon's stability and behavior. In turn, the dragon's trust and responsiveness made him more confident. It was as if their bond was a feedback loop, growing stronger with every interaction. "This is amazing," he whispered. "I've never taught anything like this before, and yet it learns so quickly. Maybe humans and dragons aren't so different after all." The young dragon chirped, flapped its wings, and nudged a small wrench toward him. Jared laughed softly. It was a simple act, but it carried enormous meaning. The creature was learning to interact, to trust, and to grow. A sense of purpose. By the end of the day, Jared realized that the mother dragon's last request was more than a command. It was a gift. She had entrusted him with her child because she believed in the courage and care of humans. And now every lesson, every gentle touch, and every spark of energy was a step toward honoring that gift. Jared looked at the young dragon, its crystal glowing brightly in the dim light of the workshop. He felt a deep sense of purpose. He had always believed humans were capable of great things, but this bond with another species, was proof. Humans could inspire courage, teach hope, and protect life in ways no one had imagined. "Tomorrow," he whispered, "we'll do more. We'll grow stronger, and we'll face the universe together." The young dragon chirped softly, curling closer to him. Its trust and energy pulsed like a heartbeat, echoing the promise Jared had made. Outside the station, space stretched endlessly, full of unknown dangers and wonders. Inside, a human and a dragon had begun their journey, a journey of courage, learning, and hope. And it was only the beginning. The first light of Rust Station's artificial morning bathed the repair bay in a soft, golden glow. Jared had slept very little the previous night, staying beside the young dragon to ensure its crystal heart remained stable. But despite fatigue, he felt an unshakable sense of purpose. The mother dragon's sacrifice had entrusted him with this life, and every action he took reinforced the promise he had made. The young dragon stirred, lifting its small head. Its crystal pulsed brightly, almost impatiently. It chirped in greeting, stretching its tiny wings as if ready to take on the day. Jared smiled. "Good morning," he whispered. "Ready for our first proper lesson?" The young dragon responded with a soft, melodic chirp and a flap of its wings. Its energy had increased overnight, and its movements were sharper and more controlled. Jared could feel the bond between them growing stronger with each heartbeat. The spark of life he had given it the first night had evolved into a true connection. Training and discovery. Jared spent the morning teaching the young dragon the basics of movement and balance. He encouraged it to push small crates, lift light tools, and even jump from low platforms, always supporting it with his hands when needed. The dragon learned quickly, adapting to human guidance while demonstrating its natural instincts. Its crystal responded to Jared's calm, steady energy, stabilizing its pulses during moments of uncertainty. The young dragon began to anticipate his movements, mimicking his gestures and responding to his verbal cues. Jared realized that their bond was not just emotional, but functional, a partnership in which each could influence and support the other. "This is incredible," he murmured. "You're learning faster than I could have imagined." At one point, the young dragon attempted a higher jump from a crate to a small ledge. It wobbled in midair, unsure of its strength, but Jared's hand reached out in perfect timing. The creature landed safely, and its crystal pulsed with bright, steady energy. The dragon chirped loudly, flapping its wings in triumph. "You see," Jared said, laughing softly. "You can do it. You just needed confidence." The dragon nuzzled his hand in response. Jared felt a warmth spread through his chest. This was more than training. This was trust, understanding, and a growing partnership. A visitor from afar. By midday, a distant vibration shook Rust Station. Jared's scanners detected an incoming ship, large and alien, unlike any he had repaired before. He ran to the control console and activated the view screen. A sleek, organic-looking vessel hovered outside. Its hull shimmered in strange colors, and energy patterns ran across it like living veins. Jared's heart raced. It was not a hostile arrival, but something unfamiliar. The young dragon perked up immediately, its wings twitching. It emitted a soft, warning chirp, sensing the energy from the approaching ship. Jared held out his hand, calming it with a steady touch. As the ship docked, a door opened, revealing a group of beings similar to the mother dragon. They were large, elegant, and glowing with faint energy. Their eyes scanned the station carefully, and their attention quickly focused on the young dragon. Jared stepped forward cautiously. He had no idea if they were friendly or if they sought the creature for their own reasons. But the young dragon's calm energy reassured him. One of the beings extended a glowing tendril toward the young dragon, communicating telepathically. Jared felt the connection too, like waves of understanding passing into his mind. They were peaceful. They recognized the dragon and were curious about its unusual bond with a human. Jared swallowed. I'm just keeping it safe. That's all." The beings seemed to understand. One stepped forward, touching the young dragon gently. The creature chirped happily, responding to their energy. They scanned the dragon with soft pulses, and one turned to Jared. "You have created something extraordinary," it communicated. "The human influence is unusual. It may allow the dragon to grow beyond what our kind expected." Jared nodded, realizing the full weight of his actions. The spark, the care, and the bond he had formed had not only saved a life, but had changed the trajectory of this young dragon species. A human's influence. Over the next few days, Jared continued training the young dragon. He guided it through exercises of strength, agility, and understanding. The creature responded to his calm energy, and its crystal glowed brighter as it gained confidence. They discovered that the dragon's core reacted strongly to emotion. When Jared felt calm and focused, the dragon's energy stabilized and even enhanced. When he hesitated or panicked, its energy fluctuated. This mutual influence meant they could work together in ways neither had experienced before. "It's more than just life," Jared said aloud one afternoon. "It's partnership. We can help each other, and maybe even more." The young dragon chirped, lifted its wings, and flapped in a small, controlled motion. Jared extended his hand, and the dragon landed gently on it. Its trust was complete, and he knew they were ready to face more than the quiet of Rust Station. Facing the universe together. The alien visitors watched their interactions with interest. One of them spoke telepathically to Jared. "You have given this dragon courage beyond what nature intended," it said. "Your guidance, your heart, it has shaped it. It is no longer merely a creature of instinct. It is a partner." Jared nodded slowly. "I promised its mother I would protect it and teach it. That's what I'm doing." The being's tendril pulsed in acknowledgement. "Then the bond is strong. You may travel together, and the universe may witness what humans and dragons can achieve." Jared felt a swell of pride. He had always known humans could do remarkable things. He had always believed in courage, skill, and perseverance. But seeing it reflected in the young dragon, knowing he had shaped its growth, made him understand something profound. Humans could inspire strength across species, across worlds. The young dragon flapped its wings experimentally, chirping excitedly. Its crystal glowed like a bright star. Jared smiled. "All right, little one. Are you ready for our first journey beyond the station?" The dragon responded with a joyful chirp, nudging him forward. Departure from Rust Station. Jared prepared his small ship for departure. The young dragon followed, hopping from platform to platform, careful but curious. He double-checked the stabilizers on the dragon's crystal, ensuring it could handle the stress of space travel. The alien visitors observed silently, offering no interference but projecting calm energy to reassure the young dragon. Jared sensed their approval and felt a deep connection to the larger universe. He realized that his actions had created more than a bond. They had opened a door to cooperation and mutual growth between species. With one final glance at Rust Station, Jared took a deep breath. The young dragon perched on his shoulder, wings folded but ready. Its crystal pulsed gently, synchronized with his heartbeat. "Let's go," he whispered. "There's a universe to explore." The ship lifted off smoothly, engines humming. Outside, stars stretched endlessly, distant worlds waiting. Jared felt the thrill of adventure mingled with responsibility. He was not just a human mechanic anymore. He was a protector, a teacher, and a pioneer. The young dragon chirped excitedly, glowing brighter as they left Rust Station behind. Jared could feel its energy responding to the movement, the excitement, and the vast unknown ahead. The beginning of legend. As they traveled, Jared began teaching the young dragon more complex lessons: navigation, energy control, and spatial awareness. The creature learned quickly, mimicking his gestures, responding to subtle signals, and using its wings to balance in zero gravity. Its crystal pulsed brighter with every success. Jared realized that the bond they shared had created a new form of life, a hybrid of instinct, intelligence, and human-inspired courage. The dragon's potential was limitless, and with guidance it could become a protector, a friend, and a legend in the galaxy. He looked down at the small creature perched confidently on his shoulder. Its eyes, shining with curiosity and trust, reminded him of the mother dragon's last request. He had honored her promise, and in doing so had discovered a truth about humans themselves. Courage, kindness, and intelligence could create miracles. The stars ahead shimmered like diamonds, each one a promise of new adventures. Jared tightened his grip on the controls, feeling the steady pulse of the young dragon's crystal against his hand. Together, they would face the unknown. Together, they would grow stronger. Together, they would leave a mark on the universe. The young dragon chirped happily, its crystal pulsing with light and energy. Jared laughed softly, a sound of pride, joy, and hope. The legend of a human mechanic and the dragon he saved had only just begun, and the galaxy would never forget them.